This isn't meant to be a hit piece. I don't want to kick a guy when he's down, and there's plenty of those kinds of videos out there already. But there are a number of questions that nag at me with regard to Boogie's implosion, and try as I might, I just don't get this guy or why he does what he does to himself. Before he was an internet cautionary tale, Boogie2988 was a prominent YouTuber with over 4 million subs and over 2,300 vids since he launched his channel in 2006. Over the course of a decade, he achieved the heights of YouTube fame and fortune that guaranteed he would want for nothing for the rest of his life. After a lifetime of scraping by and living low, he was finally set.
It was a dream of prosperity that many long for but few ever achieve. He went from the heights of this success to the depths of total failure over just the last few years as his channel died due to a variety of reasons. And it's these reasons I question. The things that sank Boogie were easily avoidable had Boogie just applied some simple common sense to the decisions he made. Boogie had built his following on the pretense that he was a nice guy who'd been dealt a bad hand and he was just trying to overcome his hard luck with his best efforts. When I came across these early videos, I felt for him. Like so many others, I bought the pitch and became a regular consumer of Boogie's content. Apart from the heartfelt pieces were the Francis sketches that made me laugh, and I became even more charmed by him. He was real, he was sympathetic, and now, he was even funny. I love this guy, give me more.
And so it went for a couple of years. I sympathized with Boogie's laments over his life and the struggles he faced. I laughed at the antics of Francis. I was happy for him when he got married, thinking, oh good, he found love, and I was happy again when he adopted cute little Sammy then Leo. His subs were rising steadily and everything seemed to be going his way. Good for him, I thought. He's a nice guy and he deserves a break. As time continued to pass, however, the cracks in the facade began to show. I started noticing that he would say things and make tasteless jokes and comments and do things that were of questionable judgment. I found myself starting to wonder what was happening with this guy. Was he just going through a bad stretch? Maybe he was having a series of off days or was just being careless with his words. At these early signs of underlying issues, I was willing to cut him some slack.
But it kept happening. A few times at first, then more and more. Boogie was saying things that made him come across as a jerk. Gradually, it happened enough that I could no longer give him a pass on it. I had to reassess my conclusion on who and what he was as a person. He was an asshole. A tasteless, whiny, self-absorbed, foul-mouthed asshole. After that, he'd lost his appeal and I bailed on his channel. I'd check back periodically to see what was happening with him and would find out that he'd gotten divorced, had bought new teeth, was being stalked, hadn't lost much weight. He was wanted by the police for aggravated assault and was getting into all kinds of drama online and was losing subs. Christ almighty, was this man capable of making a decision that didn't make a bad situation even worse for himself? Well, the new teeth was a good idea, one good idea in a sea of self-destruction.
It was clear that things were spiraling downward. I assumed that others had started to notice the incongruities between who Boogie said he was and who his behavior showed he really was. And they were turning off to him just as I had. I had no idea how far it would go though. Boogie's stature today is a shock. The more I learned about how bad things had gotten, the more I wondered how had he done this to himself. The answer is simple. The mask of likability he once wore inevitably slipped, exposing the real face beneath. Kinda like the Phantom of the Opera. The mask was pretty, but the face beneath was grotesque. And people were catching on that they'd been gaslit by him for all these years.
Boogie's downfall was predictable. No one stays on top forever. What was surprising was that his downfall was due. Not to the passing of time or fickle public tastes, but to the revelation that the nice guy was really kind of a monster and, as more info has come to light, a pretty stupid one. How does a man achieve so much notoriety and success only to piss it all away? The paucity of judgment and common sense here is staggering. In particular is the money. Boogie made millions from his run on YouTube, but today has to beg and sell his personal shit to try to raise money to make this month's mortgage payment. When Boogie bought that house for around $250,000, it's been reported he was worth about $750,000. So why in the name of sensible real estate didn't he just pay cash and buy it outright? Instead, he took out a mortgage to pay on it monthly. Who does that? Who finances a house they can afford to buy with cash? It's moronic.
I also don't know how it's possible to flush $1 million down the head and have acquired no assets. I mean, how is that possible? We know he stupidly didn't buy his house with cash and he poofed away a couple $100,000 on hookers so it could fuck his LA 10s, but where did the rest of it go? For real? I'd love to know. I can't figure out how one spends that much money and have no assets to show for it. If he had acquired assets that he could sell to make his financial obligations, he wouldn't have to beg for money to meet his basic fiscal responsibilities. It's like a magician's trick. Here's $1 million. Poof, now that's gone and there's nothing to show for it. He should have cars, homes, jewelry, blue-chip stocks, tangible assets with real-world value, but he has nothing. Speaking of stocks, who invests every penny they have in the market? You invest what you can comfortably lose and play with that. Still, Boogie's idiotic gamble in the market paid off. He made several times what he'd invested but then didn't cash out. He just let it ride until it inevitably went bust.
During a live stream with Muta, rather than the $750,000 he claimed he had that led to a $600,000 loss in the crypto market, instead, on the live stream, he claimed he'd only put in $250,000 in trading. That amount doubled then dropped and he got out with $250,000, ostensibly breaking even, which was a completely different story than the one he told in the documentary. So his story is confusing and we're left not knowing what the hell the truth is because the truth changes. The numbers change, so in the end, no one knows what the reality is. Did he lose $600,000 in crypto or did he lose only $250,000? Who knows? Boogie has claimed both are true, so clearly he's not going to clear it up, which makes it unclear how broke he is, or if he even is broke. It's exhausting trying to keep up with all the lies and changes he'll make to his stories from one day to the next. He also claims to be on the verge of homelessness, but he can always sell his house for about $300,000 and downgrade his living situation and take a room with a bath somewhere for $1,400 a month. All it takes to come through this is a little common sense and adult problem-solving skills, two things Boogie is sadly short on. Whatever the truth is with regard to his money, it's clear he has lost a great deal of it. So either his budgeting and money management skills are sadly lacking, and they obviously are, or he just doesn't want the money.
Which is a possibility. Stranger that sounds, it's possible he just didn't want the money, so he plotted a means by which to lose it all. Seriously, it's an accomplishment. An incredibly stupid one, but an accomplishment nonetheless. I don't know what to make of this level of dumb. If he really is that brainless, how does he dress himself? It's because of the stupidity on display here that I just can't feel sorry for the guy. I wish him the best with his new love and I hope he finds a job somewhere, but his YouTube career is over. I don't see anyone coming back from a 12-car pileup like this. Why wouldn't someone with so much to lose not exercise much greater care to protect what he had, rather than being so careless to burn down all that he'd built? I get that mental illness is a thing and it's pretty clear that Boogie's mental health is tenuous at best, so maybe he sabotaged himself. It sounds outrageous, but he's just the sort of crazy to do something like that.
Maybe he's just so comfortable being a failure from a lifetime of being one that success scares and confuses him. Maybe he can't be a success because his natural state of being is a loser. He knows how to be a loser, but being a success is like wearing another man's clothes or living in another man's house. It's all so foreign and unfamiliar that he can't wait to rid himself of all these unfamiliar trappings and get back into what he's comfortable with, being a loser. Anyway, it's just a theory by a balloon with no medical training on which to base it, but something has to explain his behavior. Pissing away everything you have and condemning yourself back to a life of poverty is just inexplicable without some serious mental deficiency at work.
Oh, quit your bitching, Petey.
Boogie's online persona is so tainted now that the only way I see for him to recover himself is to drop the whole Boogie identity and reinvent himself as someone entirely new. To begin with, rather than speak on camera anymore, he should remain unseen and represent himself with an avatar, and change his name. The Boogie2988 handle is so toxic he needs to rebrand himself. I think he should call himself Meat Apron 1711 and his avatar should be a big greasy cheeseburger. He should alter his voice digitally and never appear on camera. By completely burying himself behind a wall of anonymity, people might be willing to give him another chance. A few more nevers to keep in mind would be: never talk about yourself anymore. Never discuss your personal life again. Never make tasteless jokes based on dark topics. Never show us how fat you are again. We get it. You're a fat fuck. So am I, but I don't bitch about it night and day. Never engage with trolls. Enough already with the troll wars. Lastly, no more interminable bitching about your myriad aches and pains. We all know your body is a tragedy. That's your issue to deal with. Stop making it everyone else's too. If Meat Apron 1711 ever manages to get rich again, he must hire a professional financial advisor. Under no circumstances are you to manage the money yourself, or it's as good as gone. Basically, I would recommend you ignore every instinct you have to be yourself. Do that, and maybe you can have an internet career again. I wish you luck.
That's my take on the ongoing Boogie2988 controversy as a former fan. I also wish the guy the best of luck, but I'm not sure he'd know what to do with another run of good luck. Even if he got it, he'd likely just piss it away again. Boogie is his own worst enemy. If there's a way to make a problem for himself or screw up his life, he need look no further than the bathroom mirror to see who will make it happen. The man is a maelstrom of dysfunction and professional victim because that's the skin he's most comfortable wearing. Boogie has ruined every relationship he's ever had with women, sabotaged his own career, and thrown away a large personal fortune. And he's done it all to himself. For that reason, it's impossible to feel bad for him. All you can do is shake your head in disbelief. There has to be a prescription medication he could be on that would help him, but he's so screwed up. I'm thinking he'd probably need to be lobotomized before anything could even start to correct his behavior.
Maybe one day he'll get the help he needs to stop fucking himself up. Maybe. Or maybe he'll just fade away as his enormous backlog of complaints dissolves further and further into the ether, growing more and more faint until we mercifully can't hear them anymore. And the only legacy left of Boogie's days on YouTube will be a cryptic warning to all those who follow after him.
Don't let this happen to you.
I think he should call himself Meat Apron 1711 and his avatar should be a big greasy cheeseburger.